Moving on from the 2011 Mouse River flood has been anything but easy for the Petriches. Through loans taken out with the SBA, they rebuilt their flooded house and moved back home. Recently, when they added on to their family, they simply ran out of room and put their home up for sale. And that's when the bottom fell out.
Recently even had an offer, so that fell through due to an appraisal on this house.
The appraisal listed the Petriches' home value as zero, worthless to a lender because it sits in the middle of the proposed maple diversion of the flood protection plan.
I was completely shocked. I was devastated. I can't even really put it into words.
Not able to get financing for the home, the buyers backed out, and the home they were hoping to buy in Minot is now out of reach. The appraiser who filed the paperwork declined to give an official comment on the appraisal, stating privacy concerns. But we talked with other appraisers in Minot who strongly disagree with the finding of zero value. And here's where the problem compounds even further. The zero value appraisal was filed with the Federal Housing Administration, or FHA, and now by law stays with the property for 120 days. Minot City Finance Director Cindy Hemphill says this is a deeply concerning issue for the city.
That homeowner has fixed their home, they've been living in it, and the city, they're paying property taxes. That home has a value.
Because the home was rehabilitated, likely that price would be fair market value.
Even properties that were not even gutted, that are filled with mold today and haven't been touched since the flood, all have a value. And if those come on the market, there are buyers willing to pay money for that. So when you have a renovated property, being renovated on a scale of 1 to 10, their house is a 12, and the value comes in at 0, it is mind-blowing.
Under current FHA rules and regulations, a new appraisal can't be done for 6 months. With these unusual circumstances, U.S. Senator John Hoeven says he's taking on the issue.
One of the things we're doing is we're checking with FHA, the Federal Housing Administration, to see if they can make an exception under their appraisal rules, because recognize that for those homes, if they're going to be purchased or bought out at a later date, they're going to be bought out at market value.
The rehabilitated homes in the proposed diversion, like the Petriches, are in a sense a short-term housing solution for a potential buyer, and they're guaranteed a return on their investment for both the buyer and the bank, because if the flood protection plans pans out and the properties are bought out, the owners will be due the fair market value of their home, certainly not zero. But that zero staring at the Petriches from their home's appraisal made their rocky recovery from the flood of 2011 more uncertain than ever.
To carry on with our lives and put the flood behind us, it's just proven to be even more difficult.
In Minot, Sean Sitma, KX News. The last time we caught up with Adam and Terry Petrich, the sale on their home had fallen through following a zero value from an appraiser, citing that it sits in the middle of the maple diversion. The larger home they were hoping to buy has since been sold to someone else, and the roadblocks for this family of 4 in their home with bedrooms for 2 only gets worse.
The latest we've heard from HUD and the FHA is that even when the 120 days expires of the $0 appraisal, they still won't loan against our house.
The U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, which handles FHA-backed loans, issued this statement about the zero appraisal. The definition of market value contemplates that HUD's insurance of the loan secured by the property will be in place for 30 years. In short, because the house will either be moved or torn down for flood control, HUD won't challenge the zero appraisal.
We actually had an interested buyer again, but it turns out that they were getting FHA financing, and there's no getting around that.
That leaves a potential buyer looking for a short-term housing solution in either of the diversions with very limited options.
Currently, the only ways that I know that they could finance them would be a conventional loan, maybe an in-house loan with a local bank where they were willing to carry the note at not as great of terms as what they could get on the secondary market, or possibly a VA loan. We haven't been told from VA no, or it would have to be cash.
If the Petriches can't sell and have to wait out the city's acquisitions, that likely will mean sinking even more money into their home.
Even if we were to add in the basement and spend possibly tens of thousands of more dollars, we would not recoup that even if and when we were ever bought out.
Right now, if they put any more money into this house, they're not going to get it back.
With a second mortgage out from the initial rebuild, the family has exhausted all options on help from recovery groups. With their home in the diversion and the family outside financial guidelines, no help is available anywhere.
Because we were proactive and needed a place to live, we're stuck in the middle of it.
The timetable for the city's acquisitions or buyouts is uncertain. City officials haven't committed dollars to acquisitions in the diversions yet as they wait on federal guideline rulings from HUD. If the flood control timetables adopted by the city is the guideline, it would be 2017 before construction would start on the Maple diversion, and 4 more years of waiting on top of the 2 that have already lapsed. At this pace, the damage from the mouse will be gone before the mess in the Maple is cleared up.
Hope is a long shot right now.
In Minot, Sean Sipma, KX News.